Ladies and gentlemen.
So I have a concussion and I'm not going to be able to stare at my screen. The energy's probably not going to be here in the video. And I'm not even going to be editing the video. So I'm just going to make a simple white loaf of bread right off the dome. Bear with me, guys. I'm sorry about this video, but you guys will get to meet our new editor, Graham, and maybe he'll have a lot of fun with this because I'm just going to send him all the raw footage and let him do all of it since I'm not able to look at the screens too much right now. But this is just gonna be a simple white loaf of bread, all off the top of my head. I'll walk you guys through the process and let me know what you guys think. What you think, Bernoulli? What you think? Thanks for watching. We're gonna start by taking water that's warmed up to about 110 degrees. This is about 350 grams of water. I wanted it to be a little bit over 70% hydration, so I think it's like maybe 355. And then I've got 10 grams of active dry yeast. So this being active dry yeast, so I'm just gonna mix it in here, make sure it's all dissolved. And I'm gonna set it aside for like 5-10 minutes and just let it work its magic. In the meantime, I'm then gonna take 500 grams of unbleached bread flour, just straight white flour. And then I'm gonna take another, like this is 10-15 grams of salt. You can salt it to however you want. And we're just gonna mix this up. And really what I'm doing here, with it being 500 grams, 70% would be 350 grams of water. So I want a higher hydration because I want a light and fluffy dough. I want it to be nice and I want it to have a bunch of air pockets in it. That's what I'm going for. And this is really easy for, like, if say you can't stare at screens because you got hit in the head with the pole and have a concussion. This is really easy for you to do because you don't have to look at screens. All you need to know is 500 grams is my base with my flour. Everything else is just a work-in. I think you technically want to do 50 grams of salt, but I don't know. I'm not doing that. That seems like a lot of salt. It's now been 5 to 10 minutes. I think I'm sitting right at like 3 minutes actually. But there looks to be some activity here in my yeasty water mixture. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pour that right on top. And then I'm actually gonna use a rolling pin just because my rolling pin actually makes really good sense for mixing dough. I'm just gonna stir that on up until it comes together. Whatever. Then once it comes together, I'm gonna just go in here with my hands and just start mixing it myself. But I'm just gonna mix this up by hand until I get like a nice dough coming together. It's gonna be sticky because it is higher hydration, but we just gotta work in the rest of that flour. And in this kneading process, oh my gosh, this is really sticky. But that's what we want. I wanted a stickier dough. The stickier the dough, the poofier it'll be later, or whatever they say. No. Not a good boy. Use your non-mixing hand to pet your sous chef, if your sous chef is a dog. You want help? You got clean paws? You want to help knead this together? You wagging your tail? Once your dough comes together, I really have no idea what this video is going to be like. Graham, this is all you. Bernoulli, you got your ball? So once our dough's come together, it's going to look rough. It's going to look sticky. It's going to look shaggy. That's what we're expecting. It's a higher hydration dough. We're just going to set this aside, covered. Once we get all the dough off our hands, we're going to set it aside for an hour and a half, and every 30 minutes, we're going to do stretch and folds. Our rising time for this loaf is going to be a total of 3 hours, but at an hour and a half, I'm gonna take it out of here, I'm gonna shape it, and I'm gonna put it into a loaf pan. We're gonna make like an actual loaf of bread instead of my typical just like round things of bread. We're gonna make an actual loaf, and then I'm gonna let that rise in the pan for another hour and a half. So let's cut for another 30 minutes, let this chill out for a little bit, then we'll do our first set of stretch and folds. It has now been 30 minutes, and I'm gonna take wet hands and just do my first set of stretch and folds. And as we're doing this, it'll start smoothing out and coming together a lot more. And it's already looking pretty good after just letting the dough rest for 30 minutes. Yeah, that looks really good. And the more we do this, the more it'll like fight me, which is normal, and that's good. You want it to. The time I keep like a bowl of water next to me so that I can keep my hands wet as I'm doing this. Just turn it. Give it one more set of stretch and folds. Yeah, and see, it's already coming together and fighting me, so I'm just gonna kind of roll it together into a nice ball with a nice smooth surface on top. And we're gonna just set it aside for another 30 minutes. And we'll do another set of stretch and folds. Time for our second set of stretch and folds. This dough is so smooth now. Together quite well. It's a beautiful dough. Absolutely stunning. 30 more minutes, and then I think I'm having a stroke. 30 more minutes, and then we'll do our last set of stretch and folds. Going in for our third set of stretch and folds. And then once we're done with this set, I'm going to sit this bread outside, covered, for another 30 minutes. And I'm gonna take advantage of that Texas heat. I think it's about 100 degrees outside, so it's gonna be great for proofing, and it's really just gonna help this dough poof up and rise quickly. Beautiful. Let's do it. After another 30 minutes of just sitting outside, that thing is poofing up. Oh my gosh, it's got some nice air bubbles. I'm just gonna scoop this out onto a nicely floured work surface. It's beautiful. It's nice and poofy. And I'm just gonna slowly come through here, get a little flour on my hands, sprinkle a little flour on top of it as well. I'm just gonna flatten this out. Pull it apart here. Try to maintain as much of that air as we can. Then I'm just gonna kind of roll it up. Fold those ends in. Till we get kind of like a loaf shape like this. I'm gonna take a nice bread baking pan like this. And I'm just gonna sit that right in the center there. That's beautiful. It's not gonna fill the whole thing out right now. I'm gonna throw this in a big Ziploc bag I'm gonna leave it outside for an hour. And this heat, it's gonna be about 90 to 100 degrees outside right now, so it's really gonna poof this up. It's gonna help with our proofing, and then after that, I'm gonna take it directly from the outside, I'm gonna throw it in the fridge overnight, and we're gonna bake this tomorrow after work. So let's cut to that now. It's the next day, so I've gone ahead and taken our bread out of the fridge. I'm just gonna let it come to room temperature, not all the way, in all honesty. I'm just trying to warm it up so it's not as cold. I'm gonna go ahead and preheat my oven to 450 degrees. And while it's preheating, I'm just gonna let this warm up out here on the counter. Now that our oven is preheated, I'm gonna boil some water here, and I'm gonna put it into a glass container. The goal here is to just steam the bread. And we are not gonna be able to do that our traditional way by using a Dutch oven, so we're gonna just put steaming hot water in the bottom rack, on the bottom rack of our oven right before we put our bread into the oven. Now that our water is starting to boil, I'm gonna put this water into this nice baking pan. I'm gonna throw it in the bottom row of the oven, and then I'm gonna throw the bread into the oven for 30 minutes at 450 degrees. After 30 minutes, I'm gonna take the water out and we're gonna leave it in the oven for about 10 to 12 more minutes. It didn't get as much oven spring as I was thinking, just because it was baked from a cooler temperature. But you get a nice cross section. The crust on top is gonna be real thick. This is a little bit lighter. It's gonna be a great sandwich bread. Nice, crunchy, light, and fluffy. If you guys are lucky, I'll cut into it, give you guys a cross section. But thank you all for watching. I know this isn't my most traditional video because I am very concussed. But leave a like, comment, subscribe. Thanks again for watching. If you have anything you want to see, let me know. But you guys gotta try this.